Yasmin, as we are underway. Michigan with it has an early chance. Augustine with a couple of nice saves. Michigan nearly starting off with a huge exclamation point within the first 10 seconds of the contest, Jonah. Michigan got 2 shots on net.
Yeah, Trey Augustine did not have his best game of the season last night against Michigan. Only put up about 28 saves, giving up 7 goals. He's coming off a real good performance at the World Juniors, playing alongside Isaac Howard and 4 guys on the Michigan team. So we'll see what he looks like tonight.
7 goals, most allowed this season for Michigan State and Augustine. O'Connell now with it in the Michigan zone. Finds Savage, and it's poked away. Ethan Edwards now controls for the Wolverines. He'll shuffle it along the boards up into the neutral zone. And
yeah, it's good for Michigan to have Ethan Edwards back. He missed the entire first half of the season with an injury, and he adds a real nice spark to this defense. Him and Seamus Casey, both really offensive defensemen, so he adds another threat to this Michigan offense.
Savage will face it off with TJ Hughes. Face off won by Savage for Michigan State. There's a shot from the point. Misses wide right. And Michigan State will have to reset in the neutral zone. Shuffled in towards Savage, and he can't get to it. Truscott now for Michigan. Dumps it off for TJ Hughes. Hughes skating up ice, finds Truscott, who takes it in for Michigan. Tried to center it to Garrett Shifsky, and it was poked away. Casey now. Shifsky behind the net, punished by a couple of Spartan defenders. Scrum along the near side in the Spartan zone, and eventually it's Reed Lebster. Save by Barczewski. Frank Nazar now. Shifsky will center it for Michigan. Tyler Duke. And now here come the Spartans. Lebster floats it up toward Barczewski, and we've already got some extracurriculars early, Jonah. We were talking about it before the broadcast. Plenty going on at the end of the game last night in East Lansing, and
Michigan number 5, 2-minute minor high sticking.
Looks like we have our first penalty coming to Michigan. Michigan will be shorthanded, and this is not where they want to be this early in the game, as they have the worst penalty kill in the Big Ten coming into tonight.
And you talked about it. Last night the difference was the Michigan power play getting it done. Michigan also scored 1 shorthanded goal in that game, but obviously not something you want to rely on if you're head coach Brandon Dorado. And there's a chance early for Michigan State. Just missed high. Isaac Howard had a real good look, Jonah. Estapa trying to control for Michigan, and Dorwart will center. Howard fighting with it with Edwards and kicks it back.
Yeah, you could see how that chance for Michigan State there was started when Ethan Edwards kind of panicked with the puck near the blue line and backhanded it to the defenseman instead of taking his time to get the puck out.
Michigan State will reset. Savage, a little bit too much heat on that pass to Mueller, who's the top scorer for the Spartan squad. Along the boards, and here comes Michigan. Dylan Duke rips a shot from the left side. Truscott and Edwards able to get to the puck for the Wolverines. Savage applying some pressure. And Michigan will dump it down and opt to reset. Lowart skating into the neutral zone for the Spartans. Poked away by Frank Nazar. Jonah, we saw a lot of fireworks in the game last night, Ben. A slow start early as Casey takes a hit along the boards. Spartans, and here's TJ Hughes. Hughes a wrister, and it's blocked by Augustine.
Almost slid that right between his pad and his blocker there.
Good save by Trey Augustine to keep the 0-0 score early. Hughes with it for Michigan. Into the Spartan zone, dumps it off for Casey. Casey, centering pass, and a great...
What a save.
Trey Augustine with a superhuman save there, Jonah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Seamus Casey's probably the last person you want walking down the middle of the ice like this, right here. He's got his head up the whole time, sees Rucker McGroarty, but he cannot jam that in. Trey Augustine's athletic save.
The future Detroit Red Wing with a fantastic save early. My goodness.
Wow.
I mean, we talked about it. He'd need to have a bounce back night, and that's one way to get it started.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to play when you know you got a guy like that behind you.
Face off, won by Michigan State. Holtz to Tyler Duke. Augustine stops it behind the net and will shuffle it around the boards. Picked up by Holtz in the neutral zone for Michigan. Holtz to Draper. Draper just kind of nubbed a pass as Michigan will be forced to reset. Tanner Rowe chases down the loose puck. Pletzky lit up by Geary along the boards. And Josh Ernestine now trying to find a crease for Michigan. LaPointe lays a nice hit. And Jonah, early it feels like Michigan State just has not been able to get much going in the Michigan zone.
Yeah, they've had some real bad turnovers trying to exit their zone and come into the Michigan zone.
Nienhaus shuffles it over to Levshnoff. Good hit there by Nicholas Mueller as Casey and Mueller fight for the puck. And it's kicked back out to Levshnoff. Mueller and Casey do battle, and it's Ethan Edwards that scoops up the loose puck. All the way across ice to Hughes. Hughes forced to just get rid of it. And it makes its way to Casey. Still, the Michigan defense providing good pressure early, making it tough on the Spartans. O'Connell now to Larson. Stolen by Nazar. Here comes Michigan. Rucker McGroarty on the near side. And Geary will scoop the loose puck. Flipped up ice, and Warren can't control it. O'Connell now with a chance. Here comes O'Connell, and stymied by Marshall Warren. Loose puck in front of the net. Eventually corralled by Michigan. Here's Garrett Shifsky. 3-on-2 break, and Frank Nazar was laid out in the open ice. That's going to draw a penalty.
Yeah, really good job by Nazar there to crash the net, causing the defenseman to engage with him, and eventually taking him down, drawing the penalty, as you'll see right there.
Michigan State.
And here comes that Michigan power play we were talking about. If they can come out with a goal here and really, you know, set the tone as they did last night, it can really make a difference.
Nash Nienhaus, the captain for Michigan State, picks up the 2-minute penalty. Hughes and Savage will draw. One by Hughes. Casey dumps it off for McGroarty. McGroarty shot saved by Trey Augustine.
Yeah, and this is a situation where you're missing a guy like Gavin Brindley, who's out tonight due to injury. But he's usually one of the guys. See Garrett Shifsky there at the point. He's usually at that position, playing one of the top corners of the umbrella and really moving the puck and getting those one-timers.
Casey can't control the loose puck, and it forces Michigan to reset in the neutral zone. Casey with a couple of nice dekes there, eventually loses it. Hughes with it now on the far side. TJ Hughes dumps it off for Casey. Casey to McGroarty. And a one-timer for Hughes, can't connect. Shifsky to Hughes. Left side to McGroarty. McGroarty into Casey. Shifsky, and it's off the pad of Augustine. Almost halfway through the penalty kill is Michigan State. 70 seconds remain as we approach the 12-minute mark in the first period.
One thing to look out for here, if Michigan gets set up in the zone down low, watch for one of those top guys to crash the net down the middle. It happened a few times last night and ended up in a goal on at least one occasion.
Edwards for Michigan dumps it off for Nazar. Moldenhauer back to Nazar. Estapa. LaPointe corrals the loose puck. Right side. Edwards. Nazar. Token pressure for Michigan State. Michigan working it around. Moldenhauer. Good chance for Michigan. LaPointe was set up, and another great save from Trey Augustine. Power play down to 20 seconds. Moldenhauer. Nazar. Nazar shot blocked by Augustine. And that pass is sent flying right into the Michigan State bench.
Some friendly fire.
9 seconds left on the penalty kill for the Spartans. Still 0-0. Michigan outshooting Michigan State 9-2 early, Jonah. It feels like this entire contest through the first 9 minutes or so, it's just been, the puck's been in the Michigan State zone the entire time.
Yeah, and Michigan State, you can see with third in the Big Ten in penalty kill percentage, and a lot of that is thanks to Trey Augustine, as we've been seeing tonight. He's been standing on his head so far.
Quick shot from Tanner Rowe is off target. Marshall Warren looking to find some kind of crease. Draper left it out in front, and we're back to even strength. Mueller laid into the boards by Draper. Lebster can't corral the puck, and it finds Marshall Warren. Holtz picks it up in his own zone. Tanner Rowe now for Michigan. Trying to find Draper, gave it away. Seamus Casey with a couple of nice moves as he's laid out by Red Savage. Hughes, some nice stick work and another save from Augustine.
I wouldn't be surprised if Michigan wants to go and look
Hughes
at that hit.
has a chance, and he scores! TJ Hughes breaks the seal, 1-0 Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan had the numbers down low there. They had 3 guys there too.
Exclusive access to the Big Ten Network's library of classic games, award-winning original programming, and specially curated digital channels that highlight your favorite Big Ten school 24/7. Explore all Big Ten Plus has to offer on the app or at big10plus.com. Back to the action here at Yost. About 9:20 to go in the first period. Wolverines have a 1-0 lead by way of a TJ Hughes goal. McGroarty now will shuffle it up the ice, stopped by Augustine behind the net. Russell has it poked away. Dorwart loses it as well. Michigan State able to control the puck now. And there's an icing. Isaac Howard just couldn't quite get there, and we're going to face off again in the Spartan zone.
Isaac Howard, he was the player of the game in that gold medal game in the World Junior Championship last month. He scored 2 goals against Sweden, and he actually played on a line with Gavin Brindley and Frank Nazar.
Michigan's 7-1 victory yesterday was tied for their second largest victory at a top 10 opponent since 1995. Just some context for how big of a win that was for the Wolverines. Another shot, this time from Edwards from the point. Jacob Truscott navigating through defenders. Glove save from Augustine. Jonah, 15 shots already for Michigan. Just continuing to pepper Augustine.
Yeah,
for the most part, he's been solid.
This is a little bit of what we saw yesterday. Michigan really came out with a lot more shots on goal. They had 35 compared to Michigan State's 23. So we'll see if Michigan State can pick it up here.
Face-off won by Michigan, but it'll head into the neutral zone, and the Wolverines will have to reset. LaPointe up to Holtz. Some congestion on the near side. Big hit along the boards. Jarecki fighting for it with Holtz. He comes up with it, back to Geary. Worked along to Shouty as the puck is careened off the glass. Ernestie's able to get there in time, poked away by Geary. Shouty now for Michigan State. Into the Michigan zone, cross-ice pass to Davidson. His shot blocked. Centering pass was dangerous, but couldn't find a green jersey. Pass stolen by Draper. Sturbach. And his pass is taken away by Seamus Casey. Casey, with a nice move, locates the puck, and his pass to Pletzky is off target. Some fancy stick work from Seamus Casey that last time down.
Yeah, it's one of those things he's known for. Him and Lane Hudson, two guys. Lane Hudson at BU. Him and Seamus Casey are really known for their stick work and their ability to make things happen on offense like that.
Truscott now with it. Finds Chase Pletzky. Edwards, wrister. This is wide. Picked up by Rucker McGroarty, back to Garrett Shifsky. And Augustine will curl up there. Still 1-0 Wolverines. Michigan out shooting Michigan State 16-4. About 3/4 of the way through the first period of action. McGroarty with it. Shifsky fighting with Red Savage for the puck, and he comes away with it. Truscott, his shot is directed away from the net. Levshnoff trying to get it up to Larson, and it's poked away. McGroarty now. Nienhuis. McGroarty directs it to Shifsky, and Nienhuis comes away with the loose puck. Red Savage now with it, and he just lost the handle. And that's good for icing.
Yeah, Trey Augustine already with 16 saves here tonight. Combined with last night, he's already faced 52 shots on goal. And last weekend against Penn State, he faced 61 all weekend. So he's facing a high load of shots here. Let's see if he gets tired as the game goes on.
Face-off kickback, won by Michigan. As it's tied up under Barczewski, so we'll do it again.
Almost snuck through between his skate and his post there, but a good job of him to hug the post with his legs and keep that one out.
Michigan State starting to get their legs under them a little bit more now. This pace of this game has settled in as Carson Dorwart and TJ Hughes will duel on the drop. Geary now at the point. He'll rifle one in. Moldenhauer with it. He's got a chance. Odd man rush for the Wolverines, and Moldenhauer just misses high. Dylan Duke behind the net trying to come away with the puck. That was Geary that was able to fish it out of there. Eventually it finds its way to Moldenhauer. Hughes with it. Cross ice pass to Duke. Tried to rotate it back to Hughes. And here's Dorwart. Isaac Howard couldn't stick the pass. Here's Jarecki. His shot glove save from Jake Barczewski. And some more extracurriculars now. Here we go. Shouty wins the faceoff against Estapa. Gucciardi's shot redirected away from the net. And another whistle for icing.
Yeah, with that big scrum last night in the third period resulted in 8 ejections on that play alone. I believe that was after Michigan State's first and only goal of the night. So emotions were high, and we'll see if that happens again later tonight.
Packed house here at Yost, not an empty seat that you can find. That lower level is jammed full. Kept in the Spartan zone by Sturbach. Excuse me, the Michigan zone by Sturbach. And another whistle.
Cross-check penalty coming up to Stephen Holtz there for that play behind the net.
So another power play chance for Michigan State.
Michigan minor penalty 24.
This is big for them. This could really, if they can get something going here, maybe not a goal, but at least some momentum, something to get them going, give them some life here.
We mentioned it earlier, the Wolverine penalty kill unit is among the worst in the conference. Draper will face off with Savage. Draper just kind of falls on the puck, but it ends up with Joey Larson. Larson's shot misses wide left. Levshnoff, his shot, and he scores. Our wrister from the point sneaks past Barczewski, and it's a 1-1 contest here in Ann Arbor. Jonah, we've got a good one on our hands.
Yeah, credit to Red Savage on that play, getting in front of Barczewski, screening him. Looks like it went off something. Not sure exactly what. We'll see here.
So we get another look on the replay. A great shot.
Maybe the stick of Seamus Casey, but Barczewski could not see that puck coming in.
One of the better defensemen in the country, Artem Levshnoff.
Yeah,
he's the one that ties it up for Michigan State.
He's projected to be top 3 pick in this coming NHL draft, and you can see why.
Savage now for Michigan State. Levshnoff again gets it poked away. Odd man rush for Michigan. McGordy. This is wide left. Greenhouse. O'Connell and Holtz chases after it. Jonah, this game definitely feels like we've settled into it early. Michigan got out to a real hot start, but Michigan State has definitely settled into playing their style of hockey.
Yeah, Michigan kind of shooting themselves in the foot with that penalty. Like I said, power plays are going to be the difference maker in this game.
Here comes Hughes, nice move. Just took him a bit too deep. Casey, and what a tip from Dylan Duke.
They're calling it off. High sticking, they say.
That goal was, like you said, just waved off, but
unreal hand-eye coordination, though.
Unbelievable stuff.
There's no goal on the play.
Mentioned it earlier, Jonah. He's so good.
Let's see right here.
At just hanging out right in front of the net and getting some of those.
So the rule here is you cannot touch the puck with your stick if it's above the crossbar. And to me, it did look like it was above the crossbar there, so good call by the ref. But still, crazy goal.
Still crazy, like you said it, hand-eye coordination from Dylan Duke to find a way to direct that puck into the net. Potentially a big momentum shift taken off the board. Casey with it for Michigan. Careened up ice. Jonah, we were talking about it before the game started, but this is a classic, great jersey matchup. Two storied programs and just a awesome visual look on the ice.
Yeah, the script on both the jerseys, the contrasting colors. Doesn't get better than this.
Some of the best the Big Ten has to offer in what's been a pretty good season for hockey across the conference.
Yeah, Michigan State's really made a big impact this season, sweeping Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, the other big story in the conference this season. They've been fantastic.
Kind of made an unexpected jump, but they're a very talented team.
Ernest and I believe that's not Savage, that's Reed Lebster that are getting into it a little bit. Face-off won by Mueller for Michigan State. Edwards corrals the puck along the boards. Truscott up to Estapa. And again, an icing call. The fireworks have really settled down as both of these teams are really, it feels like it's gotten to be a much more of a defensive battle now, Jonah.
Yeah, it has. When you got two offensive teams like this, sometimes defense is the difference maker.
Here comes Michigan now. LaPointe into the Spartan zone. Tried to flip it over to Ernest. Schnauf's pass. Can't find a Spartan stick. Under a minute to go here in the first period. Still 1-1. O'Connell now for Michigan State. Up ice into the Michigan zone. A bit too much heat. Chifsky up ice. Rucker and McGorty. Wrister saved by Trey Augustine. And more chatting going on between Geary and McGorty.
Yeah, just 38 seconds left in this period. This has been something that Michigan's kind of struggled with this season, is giving up those late period goals. So we'll see if they can keep it out of the net or put one in Michigan State's net.
Duke will face off for the Wolverines. Edwards. And that's scooped up by Dorwart. Shuffled back to a couple of green jerseys. And the loose puck eventually makes its way to Isaac Howard. Howard's centering pass is redirected in under 5 seconds of the period. That'll likely do it. First period horn sounds, 1-1.
I think this period they really need to work on getting more pucks on net. They've been really outshot this weekend. And even their goal, it wasn't the prettiest goal, but they got pucks on net, and that's what they need to do, get those screens and get those dirty goals.
Azar comes away with it for Michigan. Levshnoff flicks one toward Barcheski, and he'll just cover it up. Raucous crowd here at Yost, something we're accustomed to, and last night at Munn and East Lansing felt the same kind of energy. Something about college hockey in the Big Ten that just gets the people going.
Yeah, especially in this rivalry, the oldest rivalry in college hockey. It's huge around the state of Michigan. Growing up playing hockey, it's always something that you want to watch and be a part of.
344 times, the 344th meeting between these two teams. That is the most between any two teams in all the country. Michigan leads the all-time series considerably.
Yeah, they lead 180 to 139 and 29.
Truscott dumps it off. Moldenhauer tried to flip that in for a one-timer.
Good job by O'Connell to get his stick in the lane there and break up that pass.
Hughes' pass goes in between a couple of Mays jerseys and can't find a home. Hughes with it along the boards. He's going to shuffle it around. Scooped up by Joey Larson. Larson has it poked away. Basgal eventually fought off. Nice spin there from Edwards. Draws some oohs and ahs from the Michigan faithful. Geary gets a stick snapped and has to skate off real quick. Some action behind the net now. Warren and Mueller in there. Ostapa and Lebster as well. Eventually it finds its way to Sturbach. Here comes Mark Ostapa for Michigan. Into the neutral zone, skating into the Spartan zone. Lit up into the boards. Good hit from David Gucciardi. Maxim Sturbach fires it over to Davidson. Warren picks up the loose puck for Michigan. Now Tanner Rowe. Marsha Warren fires it off the boards. For an icing.
Michigan State looks to have come up with a little bit more speed and energy this period. I don't know what Adam Nightingale said to him in the locker room, but it looks like it's gotten him going a little bit.
Draper and Shouty will face off. Won by the Spartans. Levshnoff. Back to Nienhaus. Spartans go D to D a couple of times. And that shot just a bit too tall.
Sounded like it went off the knob of Barczycki's stick over there.
Arton Levshnoff, he's been making his mark on this contest. Already did it with the goal, but continuing to have an impact on this game. Shouty and Nazar await the drop of the puck. Nienhuis flips it along the boards, picked up by Seamus Casey for Michigan. Casey will cycle it back, and it finds Nienhuis, who again will whip it back around. Good chance there from Michigan State. Shouty loses his stick, able to pick it up quickly. Michigan State continuing to stay on the offensive. Causing some trouble for Michigan.
They've had a really good forecheck so far in the second period.
Geary. Isaac Howard will look to settle it down for Michigan State. Here comes Michigan. Moldenhauer flips it over, and that's a second goal for TJ Hughes. It's a maze out in the students section. Children of Yost, one of the more renowned student sections in the world of college hockey. Michigan State student section in East Lansing, they've been really doing some good things though these last couple of years. As the Spartan hockey program's really improved, the fire and energy for that team on campus has grown as well.
Yeah, the Munsters they call them. There's a group of them here tonight, getting into a little bit of a battle with the Children of Yost.
O'Connell with it for Michigan State. He's tied up, and eventually the puck finds the stick of Truskar. LaPointe tried to get his stick in there to stop the puck before it got to Augustine, just a bit too late, and again, more chippy behavior from these two rival squads.
Yeah, in a close game like this, the emotions are going to be high. But it's going to be important for both teams to stay disciplined here because we've seen what the power play has done. And you don't want to be the person on your team to make a mistake like that and have it cost you the game.
And we've talked about it, kind of two opposite ends of the spectrum. For Michigan, you're trying to stay out of a man-down situation because your penalty kill is so poor. And for Michigan State, you don't want to give the top power play unit in the country a chance to add to their tally. Lebster lit up along the boards by Hughes. Davidson had to reach out to try to maintain control of the puck. Lebster poked away. Moldenhauer. And eventually it'll be settled down by Levshnoff. Here comes Nicholas Mueller back to Lebster. One-timer from Davidson, misses wide right. D Levshnoff. He'll fire and again miss wide left. Duke, 2-on-2 situation. Hughes settles it down. His shot saved by Augustine.
Yeah. Michigan State, as we said earlier, they've been really improving on their forecheck this period, but you can tell that they're getting sucked in deep, and that's why Michigan's coming back with these odd man rushes that we've seen in the past 5 minutes. So there's been about 3 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s, and one of them where Michigan scored. So Michigan State's going to have to get back and cover, even though they want to get that forecheck and score some goals.
Nazar and Shouty to face off. Shouty wins the duel, and Puck is converged on by a trio of Spartans and Nazar, and he's the one that comes out with it. McGroarty back to Shifsky, who misses just high. Nazar weaving through the vendors, finds McGroarty. McGroarty shoots and scores! Rucker McGroarty extends the Michigan lead. 3-1 Wolverines.
That was just a well-placed shot by McGroarty there.
And without his running mate, Gavin Brindley, McGroarty continuing to get it done, Jonah.
With a nice celly, too. Garrett Shifsky was right there in front of the net, making sure Trey Augustine couldn't see, and that's what you got to do with these really talented goaltenders. You got to get in their way.
Michigan takes a 2-goal lead and continuing to apply pressure. Puck shuffled around the boards. Finds Edwards. Edwards looking for Ernest-y. And it's eventually scooped up by Dorwart. Russell lays a hit into Truscott. Under 14 to go in the second period. 3-1 Michigan. Michigan outshooting Michigan State 23-9. As a lucky fan showcases his souvenir he's picked up.
Yeah, these chances for Michigan are starting to be able to put them in, and we'll see if this means the floodgates are open and if they continue to score, and we'll see if Michigan State can respond.
O'Connell tries to flick one in towards the net and misses wide left. Casey scoops up the loose puck for the Wolverines. Now it's Draper, and he'll send it along the boards for Plechky. Levshnoff with it. To Nienhaus, back to Levshnoff. Into the Michigan zone. Levshnoff to Nienhaus. Nienhaus's shot nearly finds its way into the net, just bounce off the left post.
Yeah, that was a really close one. If you're Michigan State, that's got to kill. You need something like that to get the momentum going again.
Nienhaus says Holtz lays a big hit on Larson. Here comes Moldenhauer for Michigan. Tried to dump it off for Duke. Marshall Warren's shot saved by Augustine.
Holding penalty coming up here for Michigan State.
Boy, Jonah, did it feel like Michigan had another really good look. That pass from Moldenhauer back to
Michigan
Duke.
State minor penalty number 4,
Quite
holding.
accurate enough.
Nash Nienhaus again, the captain of the team, taking the penalty.
It's the second penalty of the evening.
And this is the biggest penalty kill of the game for Michigan State. It's crucial that they do not give up a goal here.
Savage looks to clear for Michigan State, and he does. McGroarty with it for Michigan. Finds Casey. Casey to Shifsky. Back to McGroarty. Rooker McGroarty into Duke, and it's flipped back out to Seamus Casey. McGroarty now. Casey at the point. Into Hughes. Tried to cycle it into Shifsky, and he couldn't sink the one-timer. Loose puck picked up by Shifsky. Railed by Casey. Seamus Casey, fancy stick work. McGroarty keeps it in the Spartan zone. And that puck will head over the glass. Both teams able to get a shift change off. Just under a minute to go on this penalty kill for Michigan State, Jonah, which you said is paramount for Sparty.
Yeah, this is big, because if you go down 3 goals halfway through the game, at that point you have to go all offensive, and you leave opportunities for goals to be scored on your own net.
Nazar picked up the loose puck, just couldn't find a stopper. LaPointe. Edwards, and he'll give it to Nazar. Nazar tried to skate through a couple of Spartan defenders. Ends up with a stopper. LaPointe tried to go back. As Moldenhauer was laid out along the boards. And that'll draw another whistle. 15 seconds left on the Nienhaus penalty. And Nicholas Mueller.
Michigan State, number 19, 2-minute minor, high sticking.
Nienhaus in the penalty box. The captain and then the alternate. Both in the box for Michigan State.
Yeah, 5-on-3 here. Michigan, the thing about Michigan is they're very fast, they're a very skilled team. With 5-on-3, there's a lot of open ice to play with, so we'll see if they can get something going here.
15 seconds of 5-on-3, and then it'll be a minute 45 of a one-man strength difference for the Wolverines. And that's a key face-off. Shifts McGroarty now. His shot saved by Augustine. Back to McGroarty. Duke with it. And that'll end the 3-on-2. Nienhaus back in the action. Casey with it for Michigan. Dumps it off for McGroarty. Rucker McGroarty shot saved by Augustine. Spartan PK unit doing their job so far. Got another 80 seconds to go. Hughes will take it into the neutral zone for Michigan. Shifsky back to Duke. Over to McGroarty. McGroarty shot. Redirected and misses high and to the left. Back to McGroarty. Rucker McGroarty. Fakes, shoots, and he scores! Another one for Rucker McGroarty. 4-1 Wolverines.
Really impressive patience there by Rucker McGroarty. Able to fake out the defender with the shot, walk in, take his time, and find the open area to get the puck in the net.
Getting another look at it here. A little hesitation from McGroarty, and that was all he needed.
Again, you can see in that replay a Michigan State defender getting up close to Trey Augustine, kind of disturbing him there and allowing Michigan to slide the puck through.
Michigan extends their lead to 3 goals. And Jonah, you just mentioned how a 3-goal lead at this point in the contest, as we're just under 10 minutes now in the second period, can really change how you have to play as a team.
Yeah, and you've got to be frustrated if you're Michigan State. After being blown out last night, this is not what you wanted to see, obviously. But we'll see. There's still a lot of hockey left to be played, a lot of time left, and things can change.
Hard at work to bring you this fantastic rivalry weekend action. And if I'm not mistaken, last night's broadcast was put together by the Michigan State Student U team, and they did an excellent job. As Isaac Howard puts Michigan State right back in this thing with a little wrister to make it 4-2.
The Iceman puts the puck right over the glove of Barczewski.
Howard, who was fantastic for Team USA over the break with some good stuff there, Jonah.
Yeah. He used that speed to get to the outside, cut to the middle just a little bit, enough to get that angle, and rifled it top shelf.
(4-2). We've got a good one still. Michigan tried to pull away, but Michigan State not going anywhere. Jarecki knocks down the puck, and it's scooped up by Warren now. Jarecki tried to center it. Asgell shot. This is wide left. Holtz tried to work it along the boards. Big hit from Ernest on Geary. Here comes a stopper for Michigan. Loose puck, and Shouty and Estapa will fight for it. Geary chases along with Shifsky. Nazar. Michigan able to settle it down with Seamus Casey. Garrett Shifsky to Frank Nazar. Nazar. Excellent defense there from Shouty. Tyler Duke. McGordy, he's stifled by Shouty. And Davidson able to scoop up the puck in the Michigan zone. There's a chance for Nico Mueller, and he finishes it. Just like that, two quick ones from Michigan State, and it's 4-3.
What a great pass from the corner by number 11, Jeremy Davidson, to find Nicholas Mueller crashing the net like that, and he puts it, again, right over the glove of Barczewski, and you said it, Michigan State is back in this game now. You look at the shots, Michigan's out shooting them 30-11 now, but Michigan State has capitalized on these chances in the second period and really brought themselves back in it.
Michigan turns it over in their own zone, and we saw this a couple of times last weekend, especially in the Friday game against Stonehill from Michigan that led to 4 goals from the Skyhawks. You can tell on the ice, Michigan State has their juice back. Cucciardi's shot just ate by Duke. Savage now crosses the midline into the Michigan zone. Davidson, he sets up O'Connell, and the follow just high. Landed on the top of the net for a moment. A scrum in the corner now as the puck squirts free. Truscott wraps it around the boards, looking for Tanner Rowe. O'Connell, defended by Edwards, who lost his stick. Nienhuis to O'Connell. Savage now. Nienhuis now at the point. Over to Savage. Savage's shot. And that is swallowed up by Jake Barczewski. This has been a fun second period of action, Jonah.
It looked like all Michigan to start, and it's slowly starting to turn. It's like a great shift from Michigan State there. I kind of want to go back to that goal that Michigan State just scored. You know, earlier in the season, Michigan had a game against Minnesota where they had a 3-1 lead. And the tide kind of turned really quickly, and 2 goals were scored just like that, with a guy left open in front of the net to jam in those loose pucks. And Michigan's got to be better at defending the front of the net, especially in transition, or they're going to keep giving up goals like that.
Ernest tried to flip it up for Estapa. LaPointe with it. Over to Steve Holtz. Holtz rifles it along the boards. Dorwart able to come away with the puck. Here's Ernest. Ernest harassed by a couple of Spartan defenders, and eventually it's Augustine that's able to cover it up. But Michigan State turned it over in their own zone, Jonah, and nearly gave Michigan a good look.
Yeah, I think right in front of the net, you see, I think earlier in the game when it was a 3-goal deficit for Michigan State, there probably would have been a little more pushing and shoving, but now that it's a 1-goal game, things are closer. I think guys are going to start trying to settle down. As you see here, just a little bit of fighting, but nothing serious.
A little tussle, a little skirmish. Just some fellas having a little powwow. And loose puck in front of the net. Augustine trying to cover it up, and he's able to. We've seen some excellent work from Trey Augustine scrambling with the puck loose in front of the net so far today.
Yeah, he's shown his athleticism tonight with these saves. You saw that one earlier in the first period. That sliding save, and right there does the full butterfly, full extension, and stops the puck backdoor.
And you talked about how much this means to people growing up playing high school hockey in the state of Michigan. Trey Augustine, a South Lyon, Michigan native, knows all about it. Davidson up ice for Lebster. Gucciardi misses wide right. A scrum along the boards. Neither side able to find the puck. Eventually it comes loose, and Shifsky and Gucciardi race for it. Gucciardi, the first one there. Lebster now along the far side. McGordy to Nazar. Nazar to Casey. Mueller to O'Connell now. O'Connell is getting into the Michigan zone. O'Connell's shot is blocked and covered up by Barczewski.
Looked a lot like that Isaac Howard goal earlier, coming down the right side. But a good job by Barczewski, keep his angles, get out in front of the net, and make that stop.
Michigan still out shooting Michigan State 32-14, but the Spartans have valiantly hung in with 2 quick goals. Quick shot from the point, saved by Barczewski, who has to scramble to get back into position. Nienhuis drops it off. Here's puck in front of the net, and that is tipped in by O'Connell. 3 straight goals from Michigan State, and we're all knotted up here at Yost.
There was a lot of commotion in front of the net there. 3 Michigan State players, 3 Michigan defenders, all right in front of Barczewski, causing some havoc, and O'Connell is there to grab the rebound. Sometimes it's not about getting the most shots or the most opportunities. It's getting that puck luck, and right there, bounces right to O'Connell, slides it backhand in the net.
Gavin O'Connell able to finish. The freshman knots this one up. And you mentioned Michigan earlier blowing their 3-1 lead against Minnesota. Up 3 goals, 3 quick ones from Michigan State has us all tied up.
Yeah, this has been a problem for Michigan all season long, is hanging on to leads.
LaPointe sends it along the boards. Here's a wrister that misses high. Dorwart had the shot there. Estapa corrals it and finds Marshall Warren. Ernest in the neutral zone for Michigan finds Estapa. Estapa tried to find the shot and just misfired. Isaac Howard dumps it off the boards to Russell. Here comes Howard. Howard's shot blocked by a Michigan defender. A loose puck in front of the net, and Schaude has it tipped. One-timer Sturbach. Barczewski able to cover it up. Jonah, Michigan State has been really applying some pressure on this Michigan defense.
Yeah, it's been nothing but Michigan State this entire second half of this period. You know, Michigan is really going to need to get something going here. Did 3 unanswered goals. You know, you're out-shooting them by a lot, and that's good, but you need to be able to finish, and you need to be able to stop these goals on defense.
Spartans keep the puck in the Michigan zone. Some physicality from Tyler Duke on Jarecki along the boards. Duke finds the loose puck, and he finds Hughes. Hughes dumps it off for Dylan Duke. Duke's pass can't find anybody. Here comes Michigan State. Shouty through the neutral zone. And that's going to be an offsides, I believe, on Michigan State. So, Jonah, we've talked a lot about Michigan State, what they've been doing well. What has Michigan been doing differently that they need to change up to regain some control of this contest?
Well, they haven't had much offensive zone possession lately. You see, Michigan State's been kind of dominating in the zone, and Michigan hasn't been able to get very good zone entries and really establish themselves in Michigan State's zone.
Here's Miko Mueller. Davidson, he shoots, he scores! Michigan State, 4 goals in the period, and they've got the lead.
The 3rd goal of the night to go over Barczewski's glove.
Jeremy Davidson.
That one caused
Kalamazoo
there
kid.
again by a turnover by Michigan in their own zone. It's these little things on defense, but as you can see, it's causing a lot of trouble for Michigan.
Michigan has given up now 4 goals in this second period. What started off as a dream period for Michigan has quickly turned into a nightmare. The point loses his stick, and Michigan State's already coming quickly. Barczewski out of position, loose puck. Michigan's defense doing good work to protect their goalie, and Ernest is injured.
Yeah, nothing intentional, it appeared, but the children of Yost are obviously very upset about that.
It's been all Michigan State the last 10 minutes or so, Jonah. Spartans have climbed back to a 5-4 lead. Their first of the contest. Dylan Duke tried to center it into Moldenhauer. Odd man rush for the Spartans. Barczewski able to put the glove on that one.
Yeah, Michigan State's shown a lot of resilience here in this second period. After losing 7-1 last night and then going down 4-1 halfway through the game, you can get a little down on yourself, you know, but they give them credit. They stuck in there. They kept their head up, kept firing, kept going, and they've really changed the tide of this game.
With 11 goals so far in the weekend series, that's the most Michigan State has given up in a weekend series all season. But the Michigan State offense came to play today. 5 goals, and we're not even done with the second period. Draper and Gucciardi hit the deck together and exchanged some words of encouragement, I'm sure. Howard tried to get something going there. Truscott able to wrap it around the boards. Russell now tried to center to Howard. Shot hits the center pad of Barczewski as Thorwart hit the deck right in front of the crease. Under 40 seconds to go in the period, Jonah. Michigan just trying to get away unscathed at this point.
Yeah, I talked about late period goals at the end of the first period and how they've been killer to Michigan. Let's see if maybe they can get one here and bring themselves back into this game, as the momentum has really shifted towards Michigan State.
It's been all Sparty these last 10 minutes, you could say. 4 straight goals from Michigan State. Geary harassed by Garrett Shifsky. As there's some more extracurriculars on the open ice in front of the Michigan bench. Geary and Shifsky getting into it a little bit. Frank Nazar and Rhett Savage will face off, won by Savage. Larson with a big hit on Warren along the boards. Warren to McGroarty. Stopped by Basgall. Warren will skate down with 1.5 left. They'll draw the icing.
Michigan's been a very good face-off team so far this season. They've struggled this weekend, but they've been very good throughout the course of the season. And it's in moments like this, you can see they've just pulled their goalie to get that extra man to crash to the net here. They're hoping to get a quick shot off.
Hughes and Savage will draw. Quick shot, and that is swallowed up by Augustine. Michigan drew it up and executed just how they wanted to, but Trey Augustine swallowed it up. Warren Nazar will face off. Tyler Duke behind his own net. Puck flips up into the netting over the glass, and we'll face it off again.
Yeah, you know, we talked about the Michigan-Minnesota game from earlier in the season, and Michigan blew a 3-1 lead in that game. And it looked a lot like this game right here. Michigan had the momentum, where they were scoring, and they let Minnesota back in and with the snap of a finger, you know what I mean? And now they've done the same thing here with Michigan State, and they need something to get going.
Still plenty of time for the number 2 scoring offense in the country to inflict some damage. But like you said, Jonah, Michigan State has all the momentum now, and they've looked really strong the last 10 or 12 minutes. Hughes and Dorwart will face off. Not sure what we're waiting on.
The ref seems to be fixing Trey Augustine's water bottle. And now there's 2 refs. How many refs does it take to fix Trey Augustine's water bottle?
There we go. All right. Gatorade bottle's nice and snug behind the net. And we're good to play some hockey. Michigan wins the face-off. Edwards takes a quick shot, and it's gloved by Augustine.
I think we're going to start seeing more of that for Michigan, those quick shots from the point, with guys like Dylan Duke up there to cause havoc in front of Trey Augustine. That's what they're going to need to do, take his eyes away, get some deflections, get something to maybe trickle one in.
We saw a nifty goal from Duke, called back due to high sticking that he guided in. It was a real nice deflection. There's a shot that is deflected. Here's Duke. Tipped back out for Edwards. Keeps it in the Spartan zone. Hughes able to find the loose puck. A couple of Spartan defenders on him, and Red Savage comes out of the pile with it. Truscott behind his own net to Duke. Duke lifts it up to Hughes at center ice. Savage, he's got a breakaway, one-on-one with Barczewski, and he just left the puck. A huge missed chance for Michigan State. Brett Savage had a one-on-one dance with the goaltender. Gucciardi's shot is gloved by Barczewski. Jonah, what a big break for Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan State's been taking advantage of those cross-ice neutral zone passes all night. That one was not picked up by the Michigan defense, and he had a straight lane on Barczewski. Really lucky for Michigan that he mishandled the puck there. That would have been so bad for Michigan if that went in, but would have been huge for Michigan State, going up 2 goals after being down 3.
It'd be 5 straight. Stapa and Mueller face off. Barczewski deflects it away from the net, and LaPointe sends it down the ice, looking for Draper. Draper hits the deck, and here comes Reed Lebster. Into the Michigan zone, back out. Gucciardi, his shot is deflected, and the follow wasn't able to find the net either. Sturbach with it, up to Mueller. And both squads will make a change. Holtz to Nazar. Nazar into the Spartan zone. McGroarty now. Over to Duke. Now Casey. Back to McGroarty. McGroarty's shot is blocked away. Casey scoops up the loose puck. Rode into the boards by Shouty. And the puck will make its way all the way into the Michigan zone. Crossover for an icing. Now we get the chance to take a peek at the standings across the conference. We talked about it. Michigan State, the top team in the Big Ten, closely followed by Wisconsin, and then it's a drop-off before Notre Dame, Minnesota, Michigan, Penn State, and Ohio State round out the 8.
Yeah, with Wisconsin being idle this weekend, Michigan State's hoping to win this game and get a few more points on them going into next weekend.
Again, Michigan State swept Wisconsin in their weekend series earlier this year, and the Spartans have not lost a weekend series this season, as some more chippiness. I believe we saw maybe a stick get up in the chest area of Hughes there.
Yeah, it looks like the refs are not looking to call any big penalties here, letting the boys play it out.
But just to finish my thought, if Michigan State does drop this one here tonight, that would be their first series sweep that they've lost in conference play this season. Only 2 Big Ten losses on the year for Sparty.
It would also be Michigan's first series sweep in a Big Ten series this season. So a lot at stake for both these teams, a lot to prove.
Russell trying to find Isaac Howard. Puck rolls all the way down into the Spartan zone. Estapa rifles it along the boards. LaPointe can't corral the loose puck as it makes its way to Dorwart. Russell now. Centering pass is tipped up, and now Estapa with it. Gucciardi just clears, and now Steve Holtz will reset for Michigan. Tanner Rowe into the Spartan zone. Turned around and flicked it towards the net, and it nearly found its home.
The whole Michigan State team kind of lost that puck in the air, landed right at Tanner Rowe's feet, and he almost slid that one in, like you said.
Sturbach pressured by Shifsky. Nazar now for Michigan in the neutral zone. He'll wrap it around the boards, looking for Rucker McGroarty. Picked up by Joey Larson for Michigan State. Gucciardi now. Duke chases. And that's an icing call. Jonah, coming into this third period now, Michigan seems a little more settled down after some high-octane offense from the Spartans down the stretch in that second period.
Yeah, it's easy when you give up a big run like that to kind of lose your composure and lose your play style. Looks like Michigan calmed down in the locker room during intermission and are playing their game.
Sturbach and Moldenhauer fight for the loose puck. Moldenhauer came out with it for a second, and now it's Hughes looking for it. Moldenhauer takes a hit from Savage. Edwards shot off the body of Augustine. O'Connell now for Michigan State, and he'll just dump it. Barczewski collects, and Michigan will reset. Edwards spinning around Davidson. Gets a line change off for Michigan. Holtz with it. Holtz to Estapa into the Spartan zone. Estapa and Levshnoff tangled up a little bit there, separated by the officials. And I think at this point in the game, we're definitely not going to see anything like we did last night because of how tight this game is. Neither of these teams can afford to put their team at risk by potentially picking up a major penalty.
Yeah, I think last night was just that frustration from Michigan State, losing by that much in your own home ice rink. But yeah, I don't think we're going to see that tonight. No, like I said, nobody wants to be the guy to cost their team the game by taking a stupid penalty.
And there's a big hit from Frank Nazar on Patrick Geary.
Frank the Tank. They call him that for a reason.
Here comes Shouty. Trying to flip it up ice. Casey there to corral the loose puck. Shifsky now. Up the left side for Michigan. His shot is swallowed up by Augustine yet again. We've seen some good stuff from Trey Augustine. Outside of that short stretch where he gave up 3 consecutive goals, Augustine's been real solid.
Yeah, but a lot of those goals, like we talked about, he couldn't see them. Somebody was kind of interfering with his ability to make the save. But when he's got a clear view to the puck, he's been super solid, made some great saves, and really he kept Michigan State in this game when they needed it.
We already mentioned how important he was in the World Juniors for Team USA. Holtz, he'll take a rip. Warren fires it back in to flex off a skate. Holtz wraps it around for a stop-up. Here's puck. Draper had a chance, and it was poked away by Gucciardi. Warren back to Holtz.
Those are the turnovers you can't have if you're Michigan State in your own zone with a 1-goal lead like that.
Pass from Hughes just out of the reach of Keenan Draper. Hard off the boards and finds the stick of Stevie Holtz. Moldenhauer with it on the left side for Michigan. Finds Truscott. Edwards couldn't control the puck. And now Edwards, who's back in the lineup for Michigan after dealing with an injury. Puck picked up in the neutral zone by Michigan State. It's Joey Larson. He's rode by Edwards into the boards. Puck picked up by Red Savage. Savage to Geary. His shot is blocked. A little hesitation. Geary shoots in it. Deflects wide right to the stick of TJ Hughes. Barczewski able to cover that one up, and a lot of the Wolverine fans in the crowd here tonight, their heart might have skipped a beat or two that last series.
That was a great job by Lev Shinov to keep the puck in there. He jumped up to grab it out. Dylan Duke was flying down the neutral zone. He could have been gone with the breakaway, but he keeps it in and gives Michigan State that chance.
Face-off won by Michigan State, and it's poked away by McGordy. Now Casey with it. Casey wraps it around the boards. McGordy fighting for it along the boards, and it's kicked out. Casey centering past to Nazar. McGordy now. He'll shoot, and it's deflected away. Nazar trying to flip it out. Geary hits the deck. Loose puck finds the stick of Draper. And Lebster able to provide some stability for Michigan State. Tyler Duke slips a couple of times and leaves a loose puck. There's a chance, and there's another goal. Nicholas Mueller extending the Spartan lead, 5 straight goals.
That's an unfortunate situation if you're Tyler Duke there. Loses an edge. Great job by Mueller to go to the middle.
That wasn't Mueller. That was Jeremy Davidson. No, that was Mueller.
It was. Mueller, again, same as his last goal, goes to the middle when someone's in the corner with the puck, gets that pass. And Michigan State now 5 unanswered goals. Michigan's had nothing the whole second half of the game.
Tyler Duke had a clear shot at the puck and just slipped and fell a couple of times. As we tick down toward 11 minutes to go in the contest, Tanner Rowe chasing after the puck in the Spartan zone. Ernest dumps it off to Rowe. Rowe working behind the net. Ernest, we saw him hobble off the ice earlier. He is back on and looks good to go. Holtz along the boards. Ernest trying to find the puck and give Michigan a spark. Holtz to Moldenhauer. Ernest, Michigan was trying to get a substitution off, and now they do. Gucciardi to Russell, chased down by Edwards. Duke to Moldenhauer. Nienhuis. Icing. So at exactly the 10-minute mark, it's been exactly what Michigan State was hoping for. Michigan has not been able to get back on the scoreboard, and Michigan State has extended their lead by a goal.
Yeah, this is pretty much exactly what, like you said, what Michigan State is looking for. They don't need a ton more goals. They just need to keep the defense up.
Loose puck, and that's picked up by Russell. Casey finds it in the neutral zone. Moldenhauer tried to flip it in toward the net. LaPointe couldn't redirect it in. Loose puck in front of the net. Draper shot, and that's blocked again. Stopped by Trey Augustine. Get everything you need on your Instagram. Savage with it. Now Geary. And He'll dump it down behind the Michigan net. McGrory into the neutral zone, over to Garrett Shifsky. Shifsky flying by a couple of Spartan defenders and misses high and wide. Holtz and O'Connell collapse down on the puck. McGrory just trying to keep it in the Spartan zone. Marshall Warren over to Holtz. Can't corral it. And Michigan State will dump it down to Barczewski, able to make a change. Time starting to run down for Michigan, down 2 goals now. And Jonah, you talked earlier about when Michigan State went down 3 goals, their need to really turn up the aggressiveness. At what point for Michigan do you really need to start making a conscious effort to go more on the offensive?
I think it's now. I think you're going to start seeing the top lines of Michigan start coming out more and more. Probably every other shift with those top 2 lines, trying to get something going.
Shot toward the net, misses to the left. Barczewski able to get over there and knock it away. Holtz works behind his own net. Maxim Sturbach careens it around the boards. Moldenhauer holds on to it after an open ice hit. Shouty now for Michigan State, trying to feed it to Jarecki. Leshnoff fires it all the way up. Jarecki trying to carve out the loose puck. And he does. Nienhaus. Shouty. Jarecki tried to rip a shot, and it's off the leg of LaPointe. Ethan Edwards will settle things down for Michigan, allow them to make some wholesale changes. Casey now, nice move to get past Isaac Howard. Down the left side, here comes Seamus Casey. Loose puck in front of the net, McGrory scoops it up, fires it out to Frank Nazar. McGrory with it. There's an opportunity for Michigan, and McGrory had a good look, had Augustine out of position, just couldn't capitalize. Jonah, that was a big chance for the Wolverines.
McGrory got a little too fancy there, trying to go between the legs, back to his forehand, trying to lift it over, but couldn't handle the puck.
So we get a second look at this here. Danced past Augustine and just kept dancing a little bit too far.
But Michigan's had some momentum here at the second half of this third period. We'll see if they can get some production out of it.
Puck trickles into the neutral zone. Michigan, we're gonna have to reset. Hughes wraps it around the boards. Tyler Duke looking to find some space. Hughes with it. He'll rip a shot in. It's redirected just away from the net. Casey dancing behind the back of the net. Shot from Draper misses wide. Big hit from Draper. Savage got it poked away. Seamus Casey. Now here's Dylan Duke. Just gonna dump it off. As Duke and Hughes get tripped up trying to make a change, and Duke is still down. Duke heads over to get looked at by the training staff.
Something happened when the players were changing. With the benches at Michigan being so close together, it gives way for some of those altercations to occur.
We saw it last weekend against Stonehill. The Stonehill bench door was left open, and a Michigan Wolverine clipped their hip on that corner. Loose puck in front of that, eventually corralled by LaPointe. Under 5 minutes to go in this third period. Michigan down 2, looking for some answers. Overt that occurs there. Nothing that jumps out. So under 5 minutes, Michigan not going to pick up that man advantage. Nonetheless, they take the puck into the Spartan zone. Rigordi kicks it out to Truscott. They'll fire one toward the net. Nazar to Edwards. Edwards' shot misses just wide to the right. And an errant pass, can't find a green jersey. Instead, Edwards picks it up for Michigan. Ethan Edwards to Frank Nazar. Nazar right down Broadway, and it's blocked away by Augustine. Another great save from the Spartan goaltender.
38 saves now for Trey Augustine in this game.
We talked about it. They need a bounce back from Augustine, would Michigan State, if they wanted to win at Yost, and they've absolutely gotten that.
This is the Trey Augustine that Michigan State's been accustomed to seeing all season. Didn't show last night, but sure has here.
Sturbach lost his helmet. As our officials will convene again.
See a replay here.
Just a big open ice hit. I believe that was Tyler Duke that laid the wood. Hughes and Savage will draw. One by Hughes for Michigan. Shifsky. And that pass is tipped in. Sails high.
Michigan's going to be looking to pull Barczewski here in the coming seconds with 2-goal deficit, under 4 minutes to go. It's going to be important for Michigan State to keep an eye out, see if they can score an empty netter to seal this game.
Hughes and Savage will go at it again. This time Savage victorious. Larson up ice, knocked down by Casey. Shifsky tried to wrap it around and not on target. Puck rolling down, O'Connell with it. 2-on-2, and there's an empty netter. That should do it as Joey Larson provides the padding to make it a 3-goal lead for Michigan State.
Yeah, that should just about put this game away.
In 3 minutes and 18 seconds, a lot can happen, but Michigan's still going to likely need to have an empty net to put goals on the board.
You've got to respect this Michigan State team for coming back after that loss last night, coming here, going down 4-1 halfway through the game, and fighting back, and really, you know, showing the heart that their team has to get this win.
And there's the reason that they're the top-ranked, not top-ranked, they're the #1 team in the Big Ten standings. Despite being outshot 42-30, Michigan State with a 3-goal lead.
It just shows what having a goalie like Trey Augustine can do for your team. There were a lot of points in this game where Michigan had really quality scoring chances, looked like they had one, and Trey Augustine saved them.
Just off the top of my head, I can think of at least 3 or 4 where Augustine just made some dazzling stops. Another shot toward the net.
It's now 87 shots faced for Trey Augustine in this this weekend matchup.
And he's given up 11 goals, which is by far the most that he's given up in a weekend series, but the Spartan offense showed up in a big way tonight.
They did.
Spartans win the faceoff. Mueller will wrap it around to Hughes. And another icing.
You've got to wonder what Michigan is going to do going forward, addressing these blown leads that they've had throughout the whole season. We saw it. They almost lost to Providence after being up about 3 or 4 goals. They lost to Minnesota, blew 2 leads that weekend. They won in a shootout the second game, but still. And then here against Michigan State, I thought maybe, you know, coming back in the second half of the season, things would be better, but we've seen that it's kind of the same Michigan team that we saw in the first half.
McGordy's shot directed away, and it finds the back of the net. Still 2 minutes left as Michigan cuts the Spartan lead to 2.
We may have spoke too soon.
A lot of chaos around the net. We'll get a second look at it here. And I believe that was Nazar maybe that was able to
snuck right through, and Dylan Duke was the one who jammed it across the goal line. So 2 minutes to go, 2-goal deficit. We'll see what Michigan can do here.
And I believe that might have got kicked in by a green jersey. Just snuck under the leg of Augustine.
So right now on the ice for Michigan, we have Seamus Casey, Frank Nazar, Dylan Duke, Rucker McGrody, and instead of a second defenseman, they have TJ Hughes out there. They've got their all offensive line.
Hughes, he'll take a wrist shot, blocked away. Up to Casey. Casey's pass is stifled, Shouty. Casey racing back. And that's a nice hit. And each second that ticks off the clock so critical for Michigan. Down 2 now. Michigan obviously still empty net in this situation.
They've changed to a 2 defenseman, a 4 forward look now, with Ethan Edwards out there kind of quarterbacking the play with Jacob Truscott.
Truscott with it on the left side, over to Edwards. Edwards dumps it off to Moldenauer. Around the net to Estapa, puck loose in front of the net. A lot of fighting going on in front of the net.
And Trey Augustine starts getting into it.
And the puck squirted out all the way to the left of the net, well away from the play. And the officials will untie the pile.
For the 3rd time tonight, a Michigan player tries to go between the legs. Mark Estapa that time. And Josh Ernessy had a beating trying to stuff that puck in.
.81 seconds now remain. Michigan in dire straits at this point. Face-off won by the Wolverines. Casey with it. He'll rip a shot. Casey over to Hughes. Hughes. Nazar. He's hit by Geary into the boards. Casey chases, and with exactly a minute to go, another icing will give Michigan another chance, that is, Jonah.
Yeah, Dylan Duke's going to go right to the front of the net after this face-off, try to get a screen on Trey Augustine.
And Nazar just lost the puck. He had it off the face-off one. Puck crammed into the corner, controlled by Shifsky. Shifsky out to Hughes. Casey at the point. Over to McGrorty, and an excellent glove save from Trey Augustine.
Yeah, Rucker knows a lot about playing with Trey Augustine. At the World Juniors, they were teammates. Rucker was captain of the team, so he knows how good Trey Augustine can be, and he showed it right there.
Wholesale line change for the Wolverines. And with 25 ticks left. Michigan running out of daylight. Quick shot from Moldenauer. Edwards chases, wraps it around, and as we approach 10 seconds, Michigan State will pick up a marquee victory here at Yost. Final horn sounds, and the Munsters are thrilled all the way up and pressed against the back wall here at Yost. Michigan State claws back, down 4-1 to secure a 7-5 victory on the road here in Ann Arbor.